It's just loading. We are live. Amazing. Okay, well, welcome, guys. I'm super excited to have all of you back for live cold calling. If you are tuning in and watching today's live cold calling session, my name is Adriana. I'm the community manager here at RevGenius. We are a totally free community of over 30,000 sales, marketing, success, and revenue professionals in tech. So if you're not already in our Slack community, definitely send me a message and I'm happy to add you, or you can check out everything at revgenius.com. We have 5 amazing callers here today, so I will let all of you introduce yourselves. Just tell us a little bit about yourselves, the company that you work for, and what you like to do for fun. So we will start with Cassie because you are first on my screen.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adriana, and thank you for including me.
Of course.
My name is Cassie. I am calling in from New York City. I am an enterprise BDR at ReachDesk, which is a global gifting platform. So we help sales, marketing teams, customer success break through the noise by adding a gifting component or gifting channel to your outreach. I've been a BDR for about 13 months now, which is crazy and really loving it. And for fun, I'm super into theater. So if I'm not doing outreach for Reach Desk, I'm probably at a Broadway show or trying to get cheap tickets.
Nice. Jake?
That's amazing. What would you say your favorite Broadway show would be?
I'm obsessed with Les Mis. Everyone makes fun of me because
Uh,
when I visited our London office, I spent my first night there just seeing Les Mis alone instead of hanging out
that's
with the team.
amazing. I love it. Very cool. So I am Jake Alba with Sandler Sales Training, and what we do is we just help people level up. So whether it's individuals or companies, we kind of poke holes in your processes, see what you're doing well, see where you suck, and where we can help. So yeah, happy to help people level up and become masters of their craft. What do I like to do for fun? So I'm kind of like a closet nerd, and I still game. So luckily, my wife's cool enough to let me game with my buddies. And I don't do it as much, right? Because we're all old now and we just don't have time. But love me some Call of Duty when I can.
Awesome. And Ashley?
Sure. First of all, thanks so much for having me. My name's Ashley. I'm calling in from Tel Aviv, Israel, so represent. I am the team lead at Zesty, so I manage the team of outbound reps. We are a cloud cost optimization tool, and what I like to do in my free time is playing tennis and bouldering.
Awesome. Aaron, tell us about you.
Wait, so Ashley, you're calling at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, so my team calls also like the United States. So I was like, all right, I'll put myself in their shoes and see what it's like to call from 10 to 11 p.m.
Thank you, Ashley, for your
Dang.
sacrifice.
Yeah, that's
That
amazing.
is
real.
commitment.
That's a great
amazing.
leader. That's a great
Yeah.
leader.
For sure.
I'm gonna make calls at 10 p.m. tonight just so I can meet your level.
I don't know
I'm
if your
good.
prospects will be too happy.
They won't.
For real.
Like, what?
I'll live through you on that one. I have no intentions on calling at 10 o'clock, but I'm Aaron. I work at Catalyst Software. We are a platform that helps teams with upsells, renewals, and cross-sells. And if I'm not prospecting, I enjoy yoga, hiking, and just adventure in general.
And long walks in the park under the
Long
moonlight.
walks. Exactly.
Awesome. Tom?
My turn.
Mhm.
Tom Slocum, founder of my own company called the SD Lam, which is an outbound consulting agency, just helping folks with their GTM motion, right? Helping orgs with their SDRs, getting out into the trenches to book more meetings. I am tuning in from Phoenix and calling from Phoenix. So it's only 1 o'clock for me, not 10 p.m. at night. That's awesome. You're doing that, Ashley. Huge ups to you for doing that. But yeah, what I like to do outside of work is I do play video games like Jake. I've got an 11-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. So a lot of times it's just doing stuff with them or playing on the Xbox with my son while he trash talks me for an hour, and just hanging out with the fam. That's me.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well,
That's
super
awesome.
excited to spy on all of your calls today once again. All right, so we can go ahead, join your pods, and I'll just kind of be bouncing around and spying on all of you. So I'll see you in there. If you need to make a new pod, just click on the left-hand corner and create new pod, and then you can make your own. Hey to everyone in the audience. I see some awesome comments coming in so far. Sylvia says, looking forward to this. Hello, Sylvia. Hello, Lajish and Sophia and Sherry and Kevin. And okay, Tom is calling, so I don't need to say hi to him. Justin says, so excited to be here. George says, looking forward to the session. Thank you so much. And Andrew is dialing on the side. So good luck with your calls today, Andrew. And Laura says, got my popcorn. Great stuff. Awesome. I wish I had some popcorn, actually. I should do that next time. Alrighty. So let's go and start with, I think this is Ashley's pod. Hey there.
Hey,
Just gonna hang out in here for a little bit.
cool. Just got a voicemail.
Do you have like the ringtone, the like dial tone?
I do.
Okay. I'm not hearing
Hold
it
on.
for some reason.
Yeah, I had to skip a few. We had some UK and
Oh,
Israeli
okay.
numbers.
Okay. No worries.
Got
Just
a
wanted to
whole
make sure.
bag.
Belonging to Nancy Zerbuck is full and cannot accept new messages at this time.
And she was supposed to be Trevor, so
Oh no.
number.
Definitely a Nancy.
Could you hear though, like my
Mhm.
ringing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
How long have you been in sales development?
So I started about 3.5 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Nice.
moved into leadership almost 2 years ago now. So
That is
it's
awesome.
been a journey. Come on, Suman, pick up.
Always takes a few minutes, you know, get
Hi,
warmed
this
up.
is Suman. I'm not available right now. Please leave a name and number, and I.
Don't want him calling me back on my outreach number.
Mm. Do you usually leave voicemails when you're calling?
I generally don't. In my personal opinion, I don't see that people call me back very often because of the voicemail. Usually it's because they see the missed call, and it takes a lot of time in the flow. So I prefer to just try and see who I can get live.
Yeah.
But I know like that's very controversial. A lot of people are super into voicemail.
Thank you for calling Dollar General. Due to high call volume,
It's one of those nights.
It does happen. Alrighty, I'm gonna check out. Let's go see what Jake is doing. Oh, I don't think we're getting audio from Jake. Let's check out what Tom's room is up to, and then we will come back. Hey, hey.
What's going on?
Not too much.
We are just hanging out, not getting much connection just yet. But I'm in the comments talking with Caden about auto dialers, parallel dialers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's why I use Connect and Sell.
I couldn't do without it.
Yeah.
We talk about this every show, right? Aaron from Chili Pepper was here last week.
Mhm.
Like, dude, I did like 40 dials in the time that you guys cranked out like 200. Just makes it a lot easier, especially with connect rates being so low. The things that you have to do in the day to day.
Yeah.
If I had they're expensive, right?
Yeah.
They're expensive as hell. They don't make them affordable to teams, and so it can be a struggle to push out 200K for a dialer for your team of 10, but the ROI is there. I can attest to
Yeah.
it. It's crazy.
Absolutely. No, it really does surprise me, like, how often I still hear from SDRs of, like, okay, like, we're dialing with our cell phones, or we're dialing, like, one by one in SalesLoft, and we're, like, asking our manager for a dialer, and they won't give us one. It's honestly, like, surprising, because I feel like once I switched to using a power dialer, not even, like, the ones that call, like, 5 numbers at once or anything crazy, I mean, it easily doubled, like, the calls that I was able to make in a day, which is a huge difference when you have like thousands of contacts that you could prospect.
Well, that's the other thing too, is you got to have a good sample size. People don't talk about that, right? You'll see people come into a session like this and they bring like a list of 40, and the dialer will go through that in like 10 minutes, right? Like, if that, maybe a few minutes. And so you have to have like 500 to 1,000 records in there for it to really, like, right now, my list that I'm running off of has 654.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm rocking with like 600, and that's barely, just enough to get some dials out for an hour. Because it'll push 100 to 200 real quick, because it's doing, I think, like 10 dials at a time. It's crazy. 10, 15 dials at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
What's up, Jay?
Insane. Hey, I was just curious, did you hear the other side of the audio when you joined?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So if you
I gotta
go
share it.
go to share at the bottom, and then just click share tab audio, and then just share the tab of whatever you're calling through.
Okay. So I see the audio. Do I just click the little button?
Yeah, if you click it and click the share, it'll say audio only or screen, and you'll just click audio only.
Okay, cool.
And then it'll have you select the tab that you're in.
Okay, sweet. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course.
Okay, see ya.
All right, I'm gonna go check on Cassie.
Please leave your message for 67864126110.
Do you usually leave voicemails, Cassie? This has been a hot topic of debate in like our last few sessions, so I feel like I have to ask everyone now.
I don't usually. So we definitely do it on our team and kind of go through waves of some people will do it, some will not.
Yeah.
I've been through waves of doing it before and just haven't seen it be useful. We do a fair amount of double dialing though, and I know that that can be controversial as well.
I've actually never really tried to double dial. I've done it like a couple of times, but it was for like an individual prospect who I like suspected was there. But yeah, I've never really done that like, as like a at scale. How does that work out for you guys?
Yeah. So the way we do, we obviously we're very big at ReachDesk on having a reason why we're reaching out, like a well-researched reason why. So I think we do get a little bit of a buffer there in that if the person catches us and is kind of like, why'd you call twice? We're always going to have a prepared reason. Like in my case, it might be, look, Mr. VP of Marketing, I saw that you're hiring for field marketers in the US and the UK. Knowing that might mean that you have higher targets to meet around your sales qualified leads that come from field marketing. How are you currently nurturing those folks after you meet them at an event, nurturing them through the sales process?
Yeah.
And then, that might give us a buffer. But you can also say, oh, I was calling back attempting to lead you a voicemail. But yeah, I think if you have a really well-researched reason as to why, you might have a little more leeway when it comes to doing something that someone could interpret as bothersome is quickly going to go away once you tell
Yeah.
them like, no, I'm specifically calling you for a very good reason, right?
Mhm.
Like if I had to get in touch with you, Adriana, and I called you twice, you might be like, why are you calling me so much? And I could be like, oh, I have something to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's fine.
For sure. Karen says, shout out to Cassie.
That's so
And
sweet.
then Sean said, what about triple dialing? I've seen that before.
That might be too much just from my personal perspective. Like you obviously don't want to cross the line into creepy. And I think like we're always joking about, within the sales community of like salespeople
Yeah.
getting a bad rep or things like that.
It's like
So
12
maybe,
tapping or something, dozen
yeah,
tapping.
like that's just you obviously don't want to do anything that's gonna hurt the brand of your company.
Yeah.
And I think we're all very aware that when you work for a company, you're an extension of their brand and kind of everything that you do that's public facing. So
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of being mindful. And I've reached this, we're very big on like treat people like people. So
Yeah.
if you wouldn't do something like that in normal life, maybe
Definitely.
don't do it.
Tom said triple tap too far, in my opinion.
Yeah, triple tap too far,
Yeah.
for sure.
Someone also said, which I hadn't really heard before, Android users have a setting that blocks unsaved numbers on first dial, but if you double tap, you get through, which is interesting.
Oh, I haven't heard that either. I guess that's quite good to know about.
Jeff also said, I can't hear anything. Is this being recorded? It does sound like some other people can hear. So sometimes LinkedIn can be a little bit weird if you're like on mobile, especially. So I would try like refreshing the page and seeing if that maybe brings the audio back. Sometimes, especially the mobile app, can be a little bit crazy.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I should still be dialing when we're calling, but I am
Oh, no,
still
yeah,
dialing.
you're good.
For everyone wondering.
I'm going to go check in with Aaron and Ashley again. I'll be back.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see if this person picks up.
Yeah.
I probably just jinxed it, though, by saying that.
No, you're fine. I also should have been dialing when we were chatting. I have only one track mind.
Yeah.
We are sorry.
Nada at the moment.
No worries. I'll come back around. Hey, Aaron.
Hello.
Any pickups yet? How's it going?
Actually, I just had one pickup,
Oh,
and
no.
it was interesting. She
Mhm.
said, I'm throwing on a placeholder for April, so we'll take it. We'll take it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that might be our first pickup. I got to go check with Ashley and Jake and Tom because it's been a few minutes since I visited their rooms. But you might be in the lead so far.
So far, so good, and it's still the day's still early. Honestly,
Yeah.
I just got lucky, but that's a part of it.
For sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll come back around.
All right, cool.
Finally had a pickup.
Oh, we missed it.
Wrong contact.
Oh no.
I was like, yes.
Was
so
it like
let's see.
completely the wrong person, or was it just
Right
like the
company,
wrong person?
wrong team.
Gotcha. Do you
Yeah.
usually like ask for referrals? Like, how do you go about that?
So I was trying to ask her if she knew like which would be the relevant team,
Mhm.
and then I would try and transition from there to be like, okay, and who should I be reaching out to? But she like literally did not know anything to do with the IT part, so I think she was more customer facing.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we'll see. We'll see this next one. Oh, I also had a guy who was like, do not reach out to me. I don't do cold outreach. And I was like, okay, but like email, LinkedIn. He's like, no.
Okay.
We were temporarily unable to connect to the number dialed. Please try again later.
Okay. It's like how many licks till you get to the middle or center of a Tootsie Pop? How many rings until you hang up?
For sure. I always love it's like such a breath of fresh air when you're dialing and like everyone just has the boring, regular ringtone and then you get to one that's like really good music or something and I'm like finally like something interesting.
Just like
You don't even
jam
have
out.
to
You're
pick
like,
up. Yeah.
yes.
Oh my gosh. It'll sometimes be just that like super like plinky plonky hold music where it's like done, done, done. And I'm just there like, okay. This is cool. I can live with this.
My favorite is like when you're just like calling for so long, you get into
Yeah.
like a lull, and then suddenly they have like you call like an old fax machine, and it's just like beep, and you're like,
Oh my
oh geez,
gosh.
I'm awake.
I know.
I'm alive.
For sure.
Thank you for calling Intelity, the leader in hospitality software.
Wow, this list hates me. Are the others having more luck?
So Aaron has had a pickup, and then you've had
Nice.
2 pickups, so I think you're possibly ahead of everyone, but I'm gonna go check in
Ah.
their rooms.
Oh man, I hope that at least if I'm ahead, I can have a proper conversation with
Yeah.
someone and not just people who are not interested.
For sure.
Please leave your message for 65.
Hey, Jake.
Nice. You just missed it. I just got an appointment set up.
I'm like missing everyone's calls today. Like I just cannot cannot be in the right room at the right time.
Got them set up for next Thursday, so that'll be good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's our first meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Amazing.
I'm excited. So are people able to look back at when they get the recording, they can see this call, or will they not be able to see it?
Yeah, because I'm like I have to be in the room in order for it to screen share correctly to LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I wish there was a way for us to do that, but I don't really know of any platform that will like let us stream multiple rooms. That would be cool. If someone knows of anything that does that, let me know. If you can invent that, like also let me know.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Cool. Yeah. Well, you want me to walk you through kind of how it went?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we kind of mismatched a little bit, and he was kind of just like, I don't know if this makes sense. And so I just asked a couple of more questions. One thing that we utilize here with Sandler that we teach, our clients as well, is it's called a top priority survey or a questionnaire. And what that does is it helps to really see if there's relevance and kind of what their top priorities are.
Yeah.
And so I let him know that I would send that to him. And he said he would complete it prior to us meeting. And so even though it wasn't like, yes, I have tons of pain or I want to do this immediately, what that survey then does is helps him to be able to kind of identify how we've helped other businesses similar to his. And I just let him know, I was like, if there's relevance, we'll meet next Thursday. If after you finish that questionnaire, there's zero relevance, let's just cancel it so we're not wasting each other's time. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm totally open to that. And so the cool thing with something like the survey, if they actually fill it out, there's probably like an 80-90% chance they're going to show up to the meeting. But also it's twofold because then you have all of their pains and kind of what they're trying to accomplish on a silver platter. So you kind of have this cool tool where you're like, nice, now I have everything that's important to you. and then you have a really meaningful conversation when you do connect.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that call went.
No, that's awesome. So, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of using the survey as like them confirming that that's like important to them, and then they're also more likely to show up. But what about the people who like don't fill that out? Because I know, like for example, when I was an SDR, we didn't have a survey, but we had like a free version of our product that
Right.
our clients had to like, or our prospects had to connect to like their CRM essentially that they were using in order to like access it. And a lot of times it was like a huge pain to try to get them to like connect anything before their calls. So I don't know. I'm just kind
Right.
of curious like what your experience has been with that.
So the survey isn't necessarily like a crutch. Like don't view it as a crutch to gather information. You should be doing a good discovery
Yeah.
and qualifying them on the call if you can, but it's not always possible. And so what I recommend is just having a good solid contract for that survey. And what mine sounds like is like, hey, Adriana, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send over a top priority survey for you to complete. That survey is going to help us to identify your top priorities and focus on the things that you actually care about during our meeting.
Yeah.
Are you okay with filling that out and sending it back to me at least 24 hours before we meet so I can prepare for that meeting? And if you word it like that, it's very rare that they're going to be like, no, get out of here. And then you have steps for follow-up, right? So I'll send a survey reminder 3 days before a meeting, 2 days, 1 day, and then I'll also call them 24 hours before. And if you're doing those steps and following that process, it's very rare that you won't receive one back.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, it's just about the delivery, in my opinion.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. And then the show rate increases significantly. And if you are passing it off to an AE, imagine having a list of every problem that they can think of and being able to do like a pre-call planning for that meeting based on that information. It's a completely different ball.
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay,
effective.
awesome. There are a few comments. Someone said Discord does it. Discord calls can run multiple streams at once. We were just crowdsourcing solutions here today, so thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into that. We do need a better system for like people being able to like let us know that they've connected. It's tricky if there's only one person hosting. It's so much easier when there's two people, but yeah, definitely do need to work on that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jake. I'll be back.
Get back to it. See ya.
Hey, Todd.
Cool. What's up? How we doing?
Good. Jake booked a meeting so far.
I saw.
Yeah.
I've got to go through my list. I got to do a refresh. This has kind of been a stagnant list for like the past few events. So I've been kind of keep going through it, keep touching it. But I think I'm going to have to pull some new fresh stuff. I'm like 130 dials in, and the people I've connected with have hung up or have not been the right people.
Yeah.
So I have to get back at it.
How long do you usually like use a list?
I try to get through everybody. I'll run something through Connect and Sell probably like 4 to 6 times. So I get about 4 or 6 dials in with everybody. Let that list go through a couple sessions, and then after that point, like I'll either switch or recater the list and drill it down a little bit better. Look at my mobile numbers, but I'll try to go through 5 or 6 times with it. For like 2-3 hours a day. Just try to rip through, get some connects, and then this one I think I've done like the last 3 or 4 live cold calls with you that I've just been keep ripping it on. So I think it's kind of done, though I got to get some new stuff in there.
So do you typically like, how often are you calling per week? Like the same list? Do you have multiple lists that you kind of like go through? Like, how do you set that up?
So yeah, it's all about prioritization, right? Figuring out your buckets, right? If you've got an engagement platform, you can look at all your follow-ups, you can look at these closed lost. I try to typically keep a cold list that I go through like 3 times a week. So typically I'll do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Really good days to call for me. Other weeks I'll do like Tuesday and Thursdays. Like on this week, I cold called on Tuesday, and then I knew I was coming with you guys today. So I saved it, to do it today. And I usually just do everything cold, right? It's just folks that I know that I've been emailing that have some touch points. They have some activities. So at least when I'm calling, I can reference and kind of wing that I've sent them an email and it makes sense because I did. And it's like, it's Tom. But I do try to go through different variations of lists. Like I have one for founders and co-founders.
Mm-hmm.
I have one for VP of sales, and then I have one for SDR managers, right? Because I kind of have a three-prong work from the bottom up and the top down. So I can kind of go through all three of those personas and have a conversation. I try to keep the personas the same. I think you and I have discussed this, you know, as an SDR,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're going to the call block, keep everything one track mind. You know, if you're trying to bounce all over with different, you know, personas and companies, you can't really just wait for your call to happen because you're going to get thrown off. So like this one, right, is all founders and co-founders. So for the most part, when I'm calling, it's like, hey, I talk to other founders like yourself right now. This is what they're seeing in 2023 when they're doing their outbound, versus one called founder and the next one might be a VP of sales. And I'm kind of, hey, you're a founder. And they're like, Tom, I'm not a founder. You know, I'm a VP. Or, you know, I'm calling about a vertical. I can stay in that lane. You know, I used to do like vertical specific call blitzes with my team. So we do, you know, healthcare for 2 hours. We need to push healthcare. So let's call all those personas within the healthcare industry. And we can just stay in our kind of our script or our flow.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, I try to go through a couple different lists. I try to shake it up. But then I try to just stay consistent on one list and kind of work it until it's been kind of taken care of and have been acknowledged and had a few phone calls on it. And then I might pivot somewhere else, you know, versus just kind of a, you know, different list every time.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense. When I had first started calling, I mean like first, like at my first SDR job in like my first month, I had just been calling like the giant list that they had given us basically.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it like changed my life once I figured out to like segment like by industry or by location or whatever. I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
What I think is crazy is, you know, I talk with these clients, right? I've been doing this 5 months now. I've talked to a lot of companies and all of them are like that. It's so crazy to me because we're in the LinkedIn bubble, right? It's all different for us. Like, I think every org's doing the right thing and the bar's got to be way up here. Then I go to the market and I talk with folks and they're just like, what'd you say? Do what? How would I do that? Wait, what do you mean prioritize? You know, or some orgs are still running out of purely leads, right? They only work out of leads and they're not doing like accounts and contacts. And that blows their mind when I'm like, hey, move to this way. And they're like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, now you have the account, you have all your contacts, all the activity is shared. And they're like blown away, you know, to do that. I did that with an org last month and they were just like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Now they're not having reps chase, you know, stumble over each other, call the same things. But segmentation is important, right? The biggest thing an SDR and an AE can do is prioritize where their attention and their efforts go. And most aren't doing that. They're spraying and praying. They load their list and they just hope that they get a great call and they can get that meeting. But if you start looking at, you know, tiering out your accounts, prioritizing what you're doing, get those verticals in line, clean them all up. But it takes a lot of work, you know? And my team, I had a team of 30 and we would do like, I'd pay them overtime to come in like, or stay late after work and clean up the CRM, right? And say, hey, if I send you a list of 100, can you go through and make sure industries are correct, right? And we've got everything prioritized because it's just you know, it's a hassle. But once you do it, it's over, right? Once you get it all placed out, then it's like you can run fast, you can rip through calls, you can actually have, you know, that connect be worth it as best as you can. I still make the mistake. You've seen me. I've called and somebody picked up and it was not the person I should have been calling.
Yeah, and it's like there's only so much you can do to avoid that.
Right. But you want it to be that if you are getting that connect, it's kind of already qualified. It's a 50% of the way there. That's the right industry. It's the right company size, you know, right things. And this person is at least the right title and the right person, you know, versus waiting an hour, right? If I get a connect right now, how crappy would that be if it's not the right person? Been here 20 minutes waiting. Somebody picks up and they're like, nope, not me. And I'm like, cool. Back in the queue for another 40 calls. It's not fun, right? You'd rather be able to just have 5-7 conversations of the right people all at once.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
So yeah.
I'm gonna go see what Cassie's up to. Thanks, so.
Okay. See ya.
6, 2, 3, 4, 8, 0, 4 is not available.
How's it going?
All good. I haven't gotten any connects yet, so you didn't miss much, but I'm feeling so ready for when it happens.
For sure.
Any big events in the other pods? Any good calls?
Jake booked a meeting. I think
That's
that's
awesome.
all I have to report so far. There's been a few pickups.
That is exciting for Jake. That's very good. Sorry, I'm like reading through my notes on this.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. What does your like pre-call research look like?
So it's gotten a lot more extensive recently. I would say like we've done a big push for quality over quantity just in terms of meetings in general. So a typical might be like get an account and then account map it using Sales Navigator, find let's say 10 ideal contacts.
Yeah.
From there, it's looking through their LinkedIn's for the individuals and for the company. And like for me specifically, since we're a gifting tool for marketers, I'm looking for things like if they're hiring in marketing roles, if they're doing webinars or events, because we can be used to nurture people before or after those. If they list out like their job responsibilities and it talks about account-based marketing, because that's like really specifically what ReachDesk can help them do. And then on the company side, looking for things like they're growing in general, their sales team is growing. So maybe that means that marketing has higher pipeline targets to hit because there's more salespeople. Looking for things just like if generally in the news, if they went through a rebrand or and like need a way to communicate that gifting could be a way, or they just acquired a smaller company and maybe they need to reintroduce the new brand to their customers, is kind of like a mix. So I'm definitely putting more time in for research before calls than I would say that I did like 6 months ago, but the results are absolutely there, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
And the goal.
For sure. Do you feel like all of the layoffs and everything has like really affected the kinds of research that you do or like how you reach out to companies?
It definitely is notable. First of all, the layoffs are obviously horrible and we're all in it together. And I think it like on a personal level, I'm calling more people who have been laid off than ever, which is just really awful. And it like comes with the territory right now. But I would say as far as the research side of it, if a company has done layoffs, that might make me deprioritize outreach to them just because it might mean that they're not bringing on new tools right now. So we're really looking for companies that are still growing, and there are plenty out there. Like ReachDesk can be used in so many different industries. So it's definitely been a learning curve looking outside of tech and getting to know companies outside of tech a little bit more. But they're definitely out there.
For sure. Okay, I'll stop. I'll let you go.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'm trying to research and call and talk to you. It's all happening.
Hello, you've reached Adrian Letourneau. Thank you for your call. Please leave a detailed.
Mason on LinkedIn said, I feel at this point that the voicemail should just be the SDR's background check. Music to our ears because we're one call closer to a connect. I love that.
Exactly.
Kevin also said the voicemail gods got today's memo. Which, some days are just like that.
Some days they're
Some
with
days are
you, some
voicemail
days
days.
they're not with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm gonna go see what you're. How's it going?
Hey, I hope you brought some good juju. It's getting rough
Oh
out
my
there.
goodness. I feel like everyone's getting voicemails today too.
It's voicemails. Someone I called no longer works there.
Mhm.
And then someone else just didn't want to reveal like any information over the phone. Like zero. Like
Yeah.
zero.
That does kind of crack me up. It's like when you call and you're like, "Oh, hey, like, is this John?" And they're like, "I don't know. Is it?" It's like you're like
Yeah.
trying to ask company questions and they're like, I can't release that information." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I
It's
mean, I
like
was just
you
asking if you had this tool, but sure."
if you just heard their side of the conversation, you think I was like asking them
Yeah.
for their social security number or
Right.
something. It's like Aaron, I'm just asking you. Hey Jay, it's Aaron from Catalyst. How are you? Oh, it was a voicemail.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. How's everyone else doing?
I'm pretty good. I think Jake is the only person with a meeting so far.
Nice.
Yeah. I haven't been totally back around the rooms yet though, so
Yeah.
it may have changed, but let me see. I'll loop around again. Hey, Tom.
What's going on? You back?
Yeah, I think I'm going to check on Jake and Ashley really quick.
Okay.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, got a cool music for us.
We were
My
just
headset
talking about
wasn't
that.
working, and so I was like, oh, I better just do this so people can hear the audio.
Yeah. I was like, it's so nice when you go from just like.
No answer. What were you saying?
Man. No, I was just saying, like, it's so nice when you're just like dialing and dialing and dialing, and it's all just like regular ringtones, and then you get one with good music, and you're like,
Right?
yes,
And
dance
you're just
break.
like vibing.
For sure.
It's so funny. That's like a true story. We should like come up with like true stories of a cold caller.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because sometimes you're just like having the worst day or no one's picking up or you're just getting shot up. And then something as
Yeah.
dumb as a cool song can like help you so much. It's hilarious.
Definitely
Oh,
true.
man. How's everyone else doing? Any luck?
So far, I'm pretty sure you're the only person at the meeting.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see how it
Not
goes the
bad.
rest of the time.
Okay, I got a question for you. One of the worst cold calls you've ever done. Like, let's hear the story. I got to hear it.
Oh gosh.
What happened?
Honestly, I don't really feel like I've ever had any calls that were like super crazy.
Really?
I've gotten some of the standard like F off, I don't want to talk to you, but those were like pretty few and far between. Like I feel like for the most part, people are pretty calm and respectful.
Yeah.
I will say like a couple of things that definitely like caught me really off guard was like one time I called someone. So it was like John at ABC company, right?
Yeah.
And so I call and I'm like, oh, is this John? And they're like, yeah. And then I start asking them about the company and they're like, I think you have the wrong number because I'm a warden at a state prison or something like that. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, definitely not the right John. It was like the same last name and everything too.
Oh, that's
Um,
so wild.
but yeah, so I would say like what I consider to be like my worst calls though was like right when I
Yeah.
was starting out calling. And it's like I could get on the phone, I could get people to stay on the phone, but I couldn't really figure out how to like actually get the meeting. So I would stay on these phone calls for like 15, 20 minutes, like talking to people. And then I would lose them at the end because they were like, okay, like I'm busy now, I'm gonna go, bye.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, and it's like, I guess it wasn't totally bad because like I did have a lot of information to like follow up with them again later, but it's like it just like really started happening all the time, and I was like, guys, like I don't think I'm doing this right. But yeah, it was an interesting.
So what did you do to change it so you could start getting those appointments? I bet people out there are like, I'm doing that.
Yeah. No, for sure. That was, and also it's like when I first started calling, like I was calling property managers and I had been a property manager previously. So I was really like wary of like sounding too salesy or like sounding too much like the people that I used to hang up on. So I do think that being an SDR was like some karma for me in life. But no, but honestly, I just made it so that way, like I didn't really have like a call script, but I do like to use like a call framework. So that way I sort of know, like, while I'm still learning, like, okay, what things do I know that I need to touch on? So I changed it so that way I was asking for the meeting about 3 times per call, like in a different way every single time. But that first one, I would ask like as soon as they even showed like the slightest bit of interest. So that way I could just kind of like ask them, okay, is this even something that you would be open to talking about, like with me, with our account executive, whatever. And that did make a really big difference too, because even if at that first question they were like, no, like I don't think so, but like tell me a little bit more about this, then it's like when I asked the second time, they were a lot more likely to say yes. They were already kind of like warmed up to the idea of like talking to someone else. So I feel like that worked really well for me. It's just like making sure to not leave it for the very end, if you can. So that's what I did.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really smart because I feel like sometimes reps just don't ever ask, right? And so by challenging yourself to ask like a minimum of 3 times, that's like a really smart idea. So
yeah, and I would definitely. I tried really, really hard to phrase it like very differently every single time I asked. So that way it wasn't like I was asking like literally the same thing every time. And I do think that helped too.
What would you say? Like, how would you rephrase it?
So something that I definitely used to ask is like, would it be totally crazy to put maybe like 15 minutes on the calendar? I use that a lot, especially if people were like, oh, just like send me an email. Because then I could be like, I'm going to send you this. Like, would it be totally crazy to, put 15 minutes on your calendar for like a couple of days from now, whenever that was? And I would usually phrase it as like a lot of people usually have questions about like security or whatever it is that people have questions about normally. And a lot of times people would say yes. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that worked well for me.
Yeah.
Not saying it'll work for everyone. But
yeah. No, but what a cool reminder. It's like you're still asking, but you're tweaking it enough that it sounds so different from what other salespeople are doing, right? So
yeah. And like you can still use a lot of the same. Like I was still using a lot of things that I was finding on LinkedIn, but it's like my first ask would be the like, would it be crazy? And then my second ask would be like, what does Wednesday look like for you? So it's like you're asking the same thing, but it doesn't sound the same. So I think
that's so cool. That's gold, guys. Yeah, I love it. I bet people are going to start pushing you just because of you today.
Well, I know I haven't been selling for as long as you, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Like I'm learning new stuff today, so I'm going to steal some of your stuff and take it. I'll give you credit for it.
Oh my gosh.
People can get someone to answer. I've been not getting a ton of people either, but
oh my gosh, there were a few comments that people were leaving. Let me see. Lizzie said, I used to get yelled at or cursed at like crazy when I make cold calls in previous roles. I'm so sorry, Lizzie. That sucks. Some people are not the nicest, but
it's true. Yeah, I can share one with you. You want to hear a crazy one that I have?
Oh yeah, for sure. We have a few other crazy ones in the chat too, so let's go through all of them.
What else are you seeing in the chat?
Oh my gosh. There are 2. So Sylvia said, someone once told me my prospect was in jail for murder, did not know how to respond to that. I wouldn't either. So just be like, so I'm blocking this number, sorry.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Sean said, I once called a Jared. It ended up being Mike or something from a pizzeria. Still booked the meeting. That was wild.
And you
Nice.
got a free pizza.
Yeah. What's your like craziest call stories?
Okay, so I'll tell you one. So in Sandler, we use something called the pendulum theory. It's like psychology, like behind cells, and it's like the theory is stay a little bit behind where the person is at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're super excited, maybe say something like, I don't even know if this is going to be a resource for you, if it's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're being a little bit more negative. And so this lady came out swinging, right, just so mad and yelling at me, cursing at me. And so I was trying to utilize the theory of like, how can I be more negative than this lady? Like, I don't know how it's possible. And like it just came out of nowhere. I was like, I'm sorry for being born. And then I just paused, right? I just said,
Oh my
I'm so
God.
sorry. And I just didn't say anything after that. And believe it or not, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was having the worst day." And she like unloaded. She's like, "I did not mean to take it out on you." And funny story, like we ended up actually booking her, and then like a few months later we sold her. But it was just like so bizarre, and I was like, I don't know how that worked or why it worked, but
Yeah.
I guess I got lucky on that one.
Oh my God. I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind for future.
Yeah,
I'm
if someone's
sorry.
just yelling at you, be like, I'm so bad at my job. I'm so sorry.
No, it's true. It's like, what do you really say to those people? Like, it's definitely a struggle.
So
That is
funny.
hilarious though.
Calls are funny. I'd be interested to hear like, I bet we could do like a full hour on just like funny, crazy stories.
Yeah,
And it'd be
I'm
so
sure. Definitely. Alrighty, so I know we're kind of coming up like on 4 o'clock here, so I'm gonna go check out what's going on in the other rooms.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks for visiting. See ya.
The person at extension.
Oh, goodness. I actually had a few pickups,
Oh,
but
nice.
they were all like not relevant, unfortunately. But it was nice to talk to someone. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, a voice on the other end.
For sure. Someone was putting in the chat about like using like a virtual buzzer system for like when people get a pickup. And I'm definitely going to look into that this week because I feel like that would be better and more organized.
You could hear me just being like, wait, but like if you don't want to be reached out on phone, are you sure you don't want an email, LinkedIn? Like, how do you prefer me to reach out? And they're like, don't reach out. And I'm like, okay, I'll try you again next week.
Can I send a carrier pigeon? Like, let me know. Handwritten letter, whatever you want.
Speaking of handwritten letters, at my old gig, I heard of someone sending a chicken's foot in the mail to a company, and when they open it, like there's a note attached. I wouldn't recommend doing this, right? But it said, now that I've got a foot in the door.
Oh my God. But like a real chicken's foot?
I don't know if it's a real one or like a rubber one. I would assume a rubber one, just like so it doesn't go bad. Like, really, I don't know if they'd want to do business with us after a real chicken's foot.
Like I just immediately thought of like, like the chicken feet like at the grocery store or whatever. And
or
I
like
was
a
like,
dim sum, and you're just
hold
like,
on.
oh.
Like, are you shipping that on ice? Like, what's going on? Oh
But it's a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could say I was the one that did that, but not that creative, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness. No, I love that actually. It's very funny.
Do you miss calling at all?
Yes and no. Like, I don't miss the like stress of having to book meetings over the phone, but at the same time, like I did like cool calling. It like was something that I did not completely dread, like once I got used to it anyway. I will say that like I feel like the thing that I miss the most is like calling with other people. Cause like when you have when you're on like a really small team and you don't really have very many coworkers, which is like really all of the companies that I worked at, I feel like LinkedIn provides like such a good place for SDRs because it's like you can message any other SDR on LinkedIn and like you guys are like instant best friends, you know? Then like, you know, I do love that. Like I for sure miss that being able to like, you know, get on call blocks with like a bunch of other reps and just kind of have that like sense of community like during the workday outside of your like regular company. I think is just super awesome. So I'd say that's like what I miss most. I would still call if like a bunch of SDRs just like let me hang out with them, you know, like just give me a list, sure I'll be there. But
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't actually realize. I was totally oblivious to the fact that like many SDRs are like reaching out, networking with one another to do cold calls together. I think that's
yeah, I don't know. Obviously, like I wasn't
fantastic.
really like in this sort of role like pre-COVID, so I don't know that probably like affected things because a lot more people are working from home. But I definitely do feel like calling by yourself in your apartment, especially if you work from home, can be like so isolating. So it's really nice to be able to like, you know, meet other people online and like call with them and hang out with them and stuff. It's really fun.
Definitely. So I have a quick question before I get back to my calls. What is something when you were calling alone that you would do to like make yourself feel better after like an intense rejection, or like if you felt like you could have done better in the call? Like how would you get back to it?
That's like kind of tough because it's like I feel like sometimes it's like something goes really wrong and you just hang up and you're like, maybe I'll just quit. Like, honestly, like, what was that? Especially if you like forget what you're saying or something. I feel like that's the worst. Like, I can deal with people getting mad at me, but it's like if I forget something, I'm like, oh my god, like I'm just the stupidest person alive.
Oh no.
But no, I think it's like, you know, one, like having a lot of friends who are like in the same industry, like doing a similar role does really help because then it's like, okay, like if you do really need help or you need advice or you just need to complain about things, which like we all do sometimes, you know, it's nice to like have those people. And then also, like what worked best for me was just getting the calling over like as soon as possible. Like as soon as I woke up, I would make like 50 cold calls. Because then it's like if I didn't do that, I felt like I just didn't really have the same like energy or like momentum the rest of the day. So that worked well because it was like, okay, like it's 9 o'clock and I'm already done with, you know, 50 calls. So the rest of the day doesn't really look too intimidating at that
Nice.
point. But
That's like a really good way to think about it.
yeah. So what do you do though?
When I would get someone that was like really peeved about me calling, I would just be like, oh, I would think like really mean scenarios about what's going on in their life. So I'm like, oh, like, I'm not going to say them because they're too mean, but for example, their dog was just hit by a car, or
oh my gosh.
they just
Yeah.
broke up. It's really not a nice thing to do, but I'd be like, all right, they're having a bad day. Like, it's okay. Like, at least don't have a dead dog, you know, and then
Yeah.
to calling.
Oh my god.
I don't think that's the healthiest way to do it, but it helps me. Wow, I can't believe that's really messed up.
I mean, you know, everything in perspective, I guess.
I wouldn't wish it upon them, right? Like I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, they're probably upset because of this.
Yeah, exactly. No, it really does help, especially because it's like I don't think that most people like wake up in the morning and they're like, "Oh, let me like be mean to whoever cold calls me today." Like it's usually, you know, what you mentioned. It's like they're dealing with something, they're overwhelmed, like they're stressed out, and it's like this call was just like the thing that broke them that day. You know, and like that's fine. You know, it sucks to like have to talk to rude people sometimes, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you know, our job is to just kind of deal with it and go to the next one.
For sure.
But alrighty, I know we only have a couple of minutes left, so I'm gonna go round up everyone. Let's all meet back at the lobby. So if you just click on lobby in the left, you can head back over there.
Yep. Talk to you then. Thanks. Okay, take care. Bye. Okay, got another one.
How did this call go?
It was good, but I just got the notification. I hate to like run, but I have another meeting I have to jump to right on Friday. So it went well. We're gonna meet next Wednesday for
awesome
the discovery call.
So 2 meetings today.
Yeah, not bad.
Fantastic. Go, Jake.
So yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. I'll try and join for either next week or the week after,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'll make sure I have more time to stay on
for
longer. Okay.
sure. Awesome. Thanks, Jake.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Hey, Tom. We're all meeting back at the lobby.
Okay, here I come.
Awesome. Hey, Cassie. We're all gonna.
We're good. We can call her back later.
Oh no, I was not trying to make you hang up.
No,
we're gonna meet back at the lobby. Just
Cool.
to wrap up. Hey guys.
Cool.
Is Aaron on a call? Oh, I think
He is.
Totally. So I'll go ahead and send that over to your personal email. I appreciate you helping me out, and it was nice chatting. And maybe I'll bring my guitar, and you can give me some guitar lessons before we hop on a demo. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm learning as we speak, so I only know like two or three chords, but you got to start somewhere. Yeah, let's get it. All right, cool. You too. Take care. Bye. Hello.
What was that?
That was interesting. I wish you could have heard the other audio. It's actually really entertaining.
Mhm.
He was willing to take a demo, but like he was very scared with me sending it to his work email because he said he can get in trouble. So he's like, send it to my Gmail, and his Gmail was like his name, music.com. And I'm like, oh, I'm learning to play guitar, and he loved that. He's like, oh, I'll show you whatever you want. I love music.
That is awesome. I'm so bummed that the other side of the audio wasn't working for you today. I don't
Oh,
know
I'm so
what was
sorry.
going
I don't know
on.
what was happening.
I
I don't know what
know.
was happening.
We'll figure it out for next time, though.
Yeah. By the way, is the audience here still, or it's just us?
Yeah. We're gonna meet back in the
Okay, cool.
lobby now. Just to wrap things up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
See you.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of parallel dialer,
Hey
right?
guys.
Very
To do
cool.
that for
Very
a whole 8-hour day, like would stink,
Yeah.
right? You do 200 dials.
Yeah.
I used to do those days, and like you just don't get to connect. It's lame. I could do it now
Yeah.
in an hour, and like it feels much better.
Right. And the tool you're using is called Parallel.
No, it's called Connect
Or
and Sell. That's what I'm
Connect
using.
and Sell.
It's
Very cool.
yeah, they're parallel dialers, so you can load a list of prospects. I loaded a list of like 600, and then
Yeah.
it multi dials all at the same time.
Very cool.
So it's doing like 10 to 15 dials at a time, and the first
Yeah.
person to connect. So you could
Goes to
just
like
do other
a hub
things.
dialer. Yeah.
Yep. And so you could be doing emails. I was cleaning up my CRM, going through some stuff while I was dialing, and I just have to wait for the connect versus like every time, holding up my phone, dialing the number, and doing all of that.
Wow, that's very cool. Good to know about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. Just want to wrap up kind of quick because I know we're already a little bit over time, but awesome. If you could just let us know how many dials you made, how many pickups, if you got any meetings. Jake did have to hop off for another meeting, but I'm not sure how many dials he got to, but I know he booked 2 meetings today, so I think he might be in the lead. But go, Jake.
Damn.
Oh, Jake.
Yeah.
For sure. Ashley, you're first on my screen.
Oh, okay. So I had 64 dials. I had, let's see. Sorry, tallying it up. I had about 8 conversations, but none of them led to anything significant aside from now knowing I don't need to continue going after them, like taking them out of my pipe.
That's good.
Which is good. Yeah, still have
Definitely. Cassie?
I made 41 dials and 1 connect and booked her in for a discovery call. So it wasn't enough for a full demo, but there was a potential use case for sure. And
Awesome.
I was telling Ashley and Tom, she was like walking her dog as we chatted, and the dog was kind of barking all over other dogs. And it was like a little bit of a nightmare. At one point, I was like, is your dog killing someone? But he wasn't. And the good part is, and I know she has a dog, so I'm going to follow up with a Reach Desk gift for like a dog treat or dog bone or something.
Nice.
To stay top of mind.
Yeah, that is awesome. Tom, how about you?
I did 180 dials. I had 10 connects, no meetings.
Awesome. Alrighty, and Aaron.
I had 70 dials, 4 connects, 1 meeting, because 1 meeting is for like 2 months from now. So in my own forecast, I don't really count it. So to have some integrity, I'd count it as 1 meeting.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. Super appreciate you dialing with us. We got some amazing recommendations in the chat for potentially like changing up how we're doing things. So that way, like getting connects on the live stream is a little bit smoother. With one host, it can be tricky, but I think there is some awesome stuff that we could do. But I will see you guys next time. If you are not already a member of RevGenius and you were watching today's episode, check out all of our free events at revgenius.com/events or on our LinkedIn page. But I will see you all next time. Have an amazing week and weekend. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks,
See
guys.
y'all.